Who is the chef? I'm Faithy. Faithy Harris-Dowdell, born in Winter Park, Florida. Grew up in Mount Dora. Went to Mount Dora High School. Went to college at Florida A&M University. Went to culinary school. Disney University. Disney used to have a culinary school. Disney Culinary Apprenticeship Program. It was a 3-year program. Started school in 93. It was 93, graduated in 96. The apprenticeship program was nice because we were able to work different locations. I worked the Polynesian Hotel. I worked Port Orleans, Dixie Landings. I worked Epcot World Showcase. Worked in Germany, Norway, the United Kingdom, Canada, France, all the restaurants back in the World Showcase. Graduated from school, got a job working at the Contemporary Hotel at the steakhouse, the Concord Steakhouse when they first opened up there. And from there, I left Disney, joined Rainforest Cafe back then, before Landry's bought Rainforest Cafe, as a line cook in downtown Disney. Stayed there for about a year, became a trainer, went on the road, opening up stores all over the country for a few years, which was a lot of fun. Finished that up and became the kitchen manager at the Rainforest Cafe out in Denver, Colorado. And from there, the career just kind of took off from there. Growing up in Orlando, I grew up, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up. My grandmother and my grandfather lived out in the country, out in Lake County, up in Sorrento, Mount Dora area. Spent a lot of time with them. Grew up on the farm, did a lot of farming with my grandfather, growing vegetables. He had cows and, pigs, and chickens, the whole 9 yards. So, for me, growing up, it was always growing up in the country with them. And being around food my whole life. My grandmother was a fantastic cook. She cooked 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So always being around her in the kitchen. My grandfather was a good cook as well. Being with him on the barbecue grill when I was a kid, outside with him, my uncles, and everything like that was always, a big part of our life. We had a family, close-knit family. A lot of family came over on the weekends. We do barbecues, fish fries, things like that, just spending time with the family. But growing up in Florida was nice, and I know I'm a rare bird as far as people, born Floridians here. Everybody's from the north for some reason. But yeah, growing up here is, it's all influenced my culinary style, which is, you wouldn't really know from working in an Asian restaurant right now. But, my passion for food and passion for what I do and the work ethic came from, as a young age, working with my grandfather, working on the farm, doing stuff like that. So what we were doing back then was organic, but you didn't know it was organic. It was just, natural food. My grandfather grew crops all the time. Not, he grew stuff to give away to his friends, but he was from Alabama and grew up that way, so he just lived his life like that. We had a horse and plowed the field, planted vegetables, planted fruit, raised his own cattle. Would take, go to the slaughterhouse and take, cows to the slaughterhouse and pigs, and, nothing went to waste. So it's all, the farm to table movement now is kind of, I don't want to say trendy because it's not trendy anymore. It's kind of a staple now. But growing up that way, you appreciate, fresh ingredients. You appreciate the hard work that goes into it. What it takes to, to actually produce quality products. When I was a kid, when I was younger, there was no, the only celebrity chefs were Julia Child. I used to love watching Justin Wilson on PBS, watch all the cooking shows on PBS on Saturday mornings. They were, a big influence on me, and I just thought, it was something fun to do, because like I said, with my grandfather being on the grill all the time, my grandmother in the kitchen, and watching those shows, I never thought about it as a career until, my mother was the one who presented it to me. She's like, you know what? She had a friend who worked at Disney who told her about the culinary school here, and she knew I loved to cook at home and loved to cook in general, and I had, jobs in fast food restaurants growing up and things like that. And she goes, you should give this a try. So once I finished college, I went to culinary school at Disney, and just kind of took off from there. It was, then I found an outlet for that passion to be able to create food, be able to cook good food, and you could see, the reaction from people and get that satisfaction of, I made something good, they liked it, so that's where the passion kind of developed from there. Nowadays, it's not just about cooking. You have to know how to manage labor. You have to know how to manage food costs. You have to know how to, be an HR person. You have to be able to, hire and talk to your crew and develop your crew and things like that. So it's a lot more managerial these days than it was, prior. But I still get in the kitchen. I still like to get behind the line with the guys and cook with my cooks, and sometimes just joke around with them, have fun, lighten the mood up sometimes when things are under pressure and it's busy. Get back there and goof off with them. And at the same time, you're teaching them and developing them, making sure they can see that eye for detail and try to develop the passion. The biggest thing for me is you have to try to develop the passion with your cooks these days, so they can be, they can execute your vision for what you want your food to be. And if they're passionate about what they're doing, the passion shows up in your food. As the chef, I think that's one of our biggest responsibilities, especially with the younger guys these days, is, this is a hard job. It's takes a lot of dedication. You're gonna miss holidays, you're gonna miss family time, you're working at nights, you're working on the weekends. So you have to be passionate about what you do in order to be successful in this business, I think. Yak and Yeti. Yak and Yeti is, we're here in the Animal Kingdom, and it's a Pan-Asian restaurant. So we try to cover as much of Asia as we can in our food. We make everything in-house. All of our sauces are made from scratch. We cut our own meat in-house. You'd be surprised that our operation is big for actually how much stuff we actually do in the restaurant. I've got a really good prep crew. And the food here is, it's, over the years, we've kind of progressed a little bit more to get a little bit more adventurous with some of the things. As people's tastes have changed. The customers these days, the dining guests these days, are more adventurous. People on vacation, so they're willing to try some things they might not necessarily try at home, for an adventure. But we try to stick to things that are familiar to people, but at the same time, throw a little bit of twist on them to bring in, some different flavor profiles. The protein you might recognize. You might recognize the part of the world it's from, but maybe some flavors you've never tasted before. Being in the park, and when the park's busy, we got a lot of foot traffic in front of the restaurant, and it's an extremely busy restaurant, which allows us, to influence and to touch a lot of people from different parts of the world. We're not, the neighborhood restaurant where you only get the local people here. We get people from all over the world, and it's great to come in and see people who've traveled all over, and they come in and they eat something here, they come in and try our tikka masala, for instance. Wow, this is a great tikka masala. I'm from Britain, I eat tikka masala all the time. This is the best tikka masala I've ever had. I've had guests when they see me at the table, and I show up at the table and they're like, "Oh, you're the chef?" I'm like, "Yeah." They expect, somebody, Indian chef or whatever who's created this dish, and they see this big black guy from Mount Dora, Florida, and they kind of, they get shocked a little bit sometimes. But, it's being here in Disney and being able to, all the different cultures, all the different people from all over the country, it's a great experience. To be able to have people come down on vacation and enjoy a meal and tell you at the end of the day, you know what, we've been here for a week, we've eaten 10 different restaurants, we've had our favorite meal here, your service was great, the food was impeccable. That makes everything worth it. That makes all the hard work, all the extra hours that you have to put in, and the attention to detail, that makes it all worth it when you get somebody from, 10,000 miles away, and this is the best meal they've had in a week down at Disney. That, speaks for what my team can pull off here, what we do here, what we try to do to be, guests first and create a great product, and it makes it all worth it. My advice for anybody, I give this advice to a lot of people. I have a lot of friends who, their kids want to be chefs, and then, hey, call Faithy or email Faithy and, get some advice from him. I tell them all, it's not what you see on TV. To be successful in this business, there's a lot of sacrifices. You have to sacrifice a lot of time with your family, away from friends. You're working nights, you're working weekends, you're working holidays. It's not all glorious. Everybody can't be a celebrity chef. Everybody can't be on TV. There's a lot of grunt work. There's a lot of many hours of laboring in the hot kitchens. I tell people, yeah, it's good to go to culinary school. That's fine. It's not necessary. And I would tell anybody, before you go to culinary school, get a job in the kitchen, even if you're just a dishwasher or a prep cook, just to see what it's really like, to see if this is really what you want to do. Unlike going to college to be an accountant, there's not a lot of difference between, you going to college and you being an accountant in the office somewhere. In the kitchen, at culinary school, you're in culinary school, you're learning how to, slice and dice, and learning all the techniques, you're learning all the foundation of what you do. But until you actually get in the kitchen and get behind the line, you got a chef yelling at you, you got fellow cooks pushing you, and you see the chaos that's back in the kitchen, until you actually see that firsthand, you're not really ready for it, I don't think. We try to get involved with as many charity events as we possibly can. We just did, Taste of the Nation. One of our chefs from Rainforest Cafe, downtown Disney, is doing the Old Town Mackdown coming up this weekend. I did it last year with a chef from T-Rex. We're doing a Taste for Learning coming up in November at the Rosen. We try to get involved with the community as much as possible. I just did an event last Sunday as a matter of fact, for the Rosen JCC, the Jewish Community Center, for about 1,000 people, which was very nice. We get out there as much as we can. It's part of, to try to be in the community, and it's also just, to get our name out there and to help people, raise money for good events, for good causes. It's an important part for any restaurant, I think, any chef these days, to get out there. It's not only free marketing, but it's also a chance for you to get out and meet people and see people, introduce people to your food, and be helpful at the same time, help the community. We do a lot of things that benefit kids. We do some things with Dr. Phillips Hospital, some things with Florida Hospital. The Taste for Learning coming up, we do with Valencia Community College. We're lucky, we're lucky to have all 4 of these restaurants here. The 2 Rainforest Cafes, the T-Rex Cafe and Yak and Yeti, we're all part of the Landry's family. So at the same time, we all try to get together and go out and represent at the events together.